You are now tuned into the people. I got it. You didn't go live. Stop. You are now tuned into the People Before Politics radio show, brought to you by the good folks at
Black Westchester. Black Westchester. Black Westchester. Black Westchester. Check the newspaper. Black Westchester. Black Westchester. Black Westchester. Check the newspaper.
Real talk for the community since 2014.
It's going down Saturday, November 12th. Doug B Productions and Billy Rajan presents A Night of Elegance with a live performance by Intro. A Night of Elegance starring Intro. Intro live at the Coliseum, Saturday, November 12th. A Night of Elegance, starring Intro. This is an event you don't want to miss. With music provided by DJ Chris Love, DJ Kid New, and DJ Kool-Aid. Live and direct at the Coliseum, 15 South Broadway in White Plains, New York. For tickets and information, call 914-403-8376 or 914-874-9415. Intro at the Coliseum, Saturday, November 12th. We are the soul of New York, 108 Soul.
Yo, what up?
Yeah, what's good?
What's up, everybody? Everybody that's watching, what's happening? How are you doing?
Welcome to Black Westchester Presents the People Before Politics radio show, episode 357. 357. Damon, do you think we'd be around doing the third 357 show when we started this thing?
Nah, man. It's a blessing. It's a huge blessing to be on the radio, to discuss the issues in Westchester and around the world, man, like New York politics, and I think it's great. I think it's great. So, it's wonderful to be able to have independent Black media. With everything that's going on today, to have independent Black media is very vital to the Black community and Black people. And
independent media is the cornerstone of this country. You have the mainstream media, but it's the independent media that is unapologetic and brings you the truth and talks about things that some of the mainstream media might not want you to talk about.
Well, absolutely. Like this next subject, we're going to follow up because we haven't really had a discussion because it's jumped off in like a whole week. And I want to get real quick into the issue of what happened with our brother, Kyrie Erving. And I want to play a little bit, if I can, because we got 30 minutes till our guests come on. And everybody that's watching, our guest that will be on will be
Well, I think we lost Damon. I just realized he might have clicked the wrong button. I'm seeing that I'm on the screen by myself until he gets back. Let me give a shout out to everybody yesterday. I had the privilege of being on a powerful panel yesterday of hip hop pioneers. Ralph McDaniels, Uncle Ralph, Video Music Box, MCWD, the first solo female MC and a hip hop historian, James Top, a legendary graffiti artist and author, and Mount Vernon's own Mark Collins from the legendary Collins Brothers. This was put together. Took place at the Mount Vernon Public Library for the 49th anniversary of hip hop. Next year, hip hop will be 50 years old. We are already working on the 50-year celebration now. It will be 50 years old next year. There's 49 years. We had a big celebration. We had the Dynamic Rockers came through. And for all you old school cats that might have seen Beat Street, they're the ones that battle in Rocksteady in the movie. You know what I'm saying? They came through teaching the kids how to break dance. We had some DJs. There was awards given to DMX family. They were there. His son and grandparents accepted it. And award given to Heavy D. His parents were there. And then we had the panel discussion on hip hop. And it was great. And shout out to Tamar. Davis, the director of the Mount Vernon Public Library and the owner of Duke Funk magazine, a graffiti magazine. It was a well attended, and I was just blessed to be part of this powerful panel yesterday. So I just want to shout everybody out. I'll have pictures and everything else coming up soon. So it was great. So yeah, we lost you for a minute. I'm sitting here sharing video. I'm sitting here sharing it. I'm hearing you talk, and all of a sudden I'm like, "Oh, where'd Damon go?" Okay, I'm on the screen by myself. I guess he lost the signal.
Yeah, man. So that's why we have to get black-owned computers and black-owned operating systems.
Shout to Lane Cobb. Shout to Lane Cobb.
So we won't get kicked out when we start talking things that are controversial to the oppressor. But anyway, so I had to throw that in, man. So, but I wanted to address. Hey, Lane, how you doing, sis? God bless. I wanted to address the Kyrie Erving incident, if you want to call it a incident, because it's ongoing, and as I said on my page, this is a public lynching of a brother that what's going on with my stuff, man? This is crazy.
The powers be trying to shut you down, I guess. I don't know.
Yo, I don't know what's going on.
We lost your video. We can still hear your audio. We lost your video though.
Yeah, but this is crazy, man. See what's going on? See, every time I bring up Kyrie Erving, something happened to this thing, man. I don't know what's going on. But I'm going to rock out like this for a minute because I don't want to lose my flow in the conversation. So as long as y'all can hear me, I just wanted to play a little bit of the original interview, and then I just want to address some things step by step on actually what happened. And a friend of mine that is deep into the entertainment industry, sports industry, he deals with a lot. He hit me and he said, this is bigger than Kyrie, right? This is part of the Nets wanting to get rid of Kyrie because Kyrie has had an off and on relationship with the Nets, going back to him not getting the vaccine. So I just want to play this real quick. Let me see if I can share it. Here we go. Add the stream. And take the
search bar, typed in Yahweh. That came up. Went out and shared it on my platform. That was my night. In terms of the backlash, or what people call it, we're in 2022. History is not supposed to be hidden from anybody. And I'm not a divisive person when it comes to religion. I embrace all walks of life. You see it on all my platforms. I talk to all races, all cultures, all religions. And my response would be, it's not about educating yourself on what Semitism is and what anti-Semitism is. It's really about learning the root words of where these come from and understanding that this is an African heritage that is also belonging to the people. Africa is in it, whether we want to dismiss it or not. So the claims of anti-Semitism and who are the original chosen people of God, and we go into these religious conversations and it's a big no-no. I don't live my way like that. I don't live my life that way. Excuse me, I grew up in a melting pot, and I say a melting pot of all races, white, black, red, yellow, Jewish, Christian, Muslim, and you can see the way I live my life now. I'm not here to be divisive. So They could push their agenda. I don't want to say they, because I'm not identifying any one group or race of people, but I'm in a unique position to have a level of influence on my community. And what I post does not mean that I support everything that's being said or everything that's being done, or I'm campaigning for anything. All I do is post things for my people in my community and those that it's actually going to impact. Anybody else that has criticism, it obviously wasn't meant for them.
Can y'all hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got to take one of you off, though. So hold on.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. So I had to try to flip so I could get back in. So when people are watching that, hold on, let me close this off. Okay. So still getting the echo.
We have two boxes open.
Can you? I'm trying to close this box. It's not allowing me to close. All right, I know how to fix it. AJ, talk.
All right, so while we work on these technical difficulties, which happen on live when we're live, and we're trying out new technology. As you know, we Damon has the other thing on his side with the sound effects, and fixed up his studio in his house. So we're still tweaking some of the technology. Are you there, my brother? Can we?
Yes, I am.
Okay, there you go.
Yes, I am. So I just wanted to show that because what he said there was not disrespectful. He didn't spew any hate. He shared a video that was on Amazon, and it's sold at Walmart, on eBay. Their books, there is a book version to that that's sold online in a lot of stores. And he has paid a terrible price for sharing a title that says from Hebrews to Negroes, and it talks about the descendancy of Africans that reflect in the Bible and reflect from the descendants of Abraham. Now, I'm not trying to get technical anything. So the fact that they publicly lynched him and they kept saying, he's promoting it. He's promoting it. He's promoting it. Our brother Kyrie was not promoting it. He was minding his business. The media promoted that documentary. Kyrie did not promote the documentary. They did, because many of us that were watching the interview didn't know anything, didn't even know he posted it, didn't know nothing about the documentary.
Yeah, I wouldn't have known the documentary existed. I did hear about the documentary, but I wouldn't have known that he posted it, because I don't know if I'm following him like that, but I would have never, if they didn't talk about it and they didn't share it, there's a whole lot of people, like you said, that wouldn't have known that he had posted anything and that this documentary, some people wouldn't even know this documentary existed.
Exactly. Exactly. I wouldn't even know it existed until I start watching the different interviews. And Kyrie stood strong on his saying that he was researching his history about Yahweh and his belief in being a Hebrew. And he stood strong saying he could not be anti-Semitic because he didn't go into the explanation, but Black people cannot be anti-Semitic because we are descendants of the Semitic people. So we cannot be anti something that we are. So what what was very unique, and I have had discussions on Facebook when people watch the media and they listen to these commentators, and you don't get the full story. So one of the ladies that responded, good friend Sandy Bernarby, right? She said that the commentators spoke and said that and this is no defense of the documentary, but we must, in order for us to understand, right, we have to stand on truth, right? And we can't be about feelings. We have to be about truth. We have to be about truth. And see, once again, I got account restricted on my Facebook. Somebody doesn't like me. We have to be about truth. So what I responded to, she said that they talked about the Holocaust. And what I did respond to her was that in the documentary, if people watch the documentary, the quote about the Holocaust was a quote by a man named Harold Wallace Rosenthal. It was an interview in 1976 by Charles A. Wiseman. And it says it right on the documentary. Right? It says a statement about the Holocaust, among other things. And it says what I just wrote. And they had another statement on top of it by Harold Ford, who wrote a book called The International Jew. Now nobody has, and this is Ford from the Ford Company. Now nobody has called him anti-Semitic. Nobody has called Mr. Wiseman, Mr. Rosenthal, Harold Wallace Rosenthal, anti-Semitic, because they are the ones that made the statement, not Kyrie. The documentary was quoting these men. They did the same thing to Minister Farrakhan when they published a book called The Secret Relationship with Blacks and Jews, and talk about the Jews' involvement in the slave trade, which they use Jewish scholars, which they quoted Jewish scholars. Now, some people could get upset, but it is what it is. So Kyrie has paid a terrible price in this, and Amazon is still selling the movie. They're still renting the movie. Amazon is still selling the book. And now the book is a bestseller. Not because of Kyrie. It's because of the white media kept pressuring Kyrie about something which he said. He just posted it. He was doing research on Yahweh. So, I think it's horrible when we do this. And Russell Simmons said, in defense of Kanye West, that they use the anti-Semitic word and then they walk away and they don't want to have conversation. Somebody's car getting broken in. And that's not, and that's not how we should do each other. But nobody has said anything to Jeff Bezos. You know why? You know why the NBA and nobody said anything to Jeff Bezos? Because he just signed a multi-billion-dollar deal with the NBA for Amazon Prime to be showed in Brazil. They're not going to mess up their cash cow. The ADL ain't saying anything to Jeff Bezos. NBA is very quiet on Amazon because they just signed a $1 billion deal. So this is the hypocrisy that we're seeing here. And for all these athletes, should be horrible. And Shaq going to call a man an idiot, but Shaq, you're an idiot because it was premiered in your movie theater
in Newark, New Jersey.
In Newark, New Jersey.
You probably don't even know that.
But you can't make no excuse for it, right?
No. I'm saying he probably don't even know that.
Well, that then you know what? He should shut the fuck up, like straight music. Because here you are calling this man an idiot, and the movie was premiered in your theater. And people can make an excuse. Well, he got a lot of businesses. He don't know. Well, Kyrie just shared the movie. He just shared a documentary. That's all he did. He didn't put he ain't put no hate speech on it. He just put the flyer on his Twitter page.
So about the NBA, so I have one thing to say, somewhat related, or maybe you may say it's unrelated. So the NBA, which is made up of mostly a good portion of African Americans, black men, had nothing to say about Twitter when Elon Musk took it over, and the use of the N-word, the word nigger has increased 500%. That is offensive to all of your athletes that play on your teams. But we're not talking about that's anti-black. You know what I'm saying? And nobody's talking about that. Like the NBA is not making a point to speak up on that. And that directly affects the players that play on your team, that win you the games, that make you the money, that get you the endorsements and get you your sponsors. There's no people on that. There's been no pushback from the black community either for that. So that's beside the point. But
hey, listen, I'm not. See, when do we begin? And what's the bald head lawyer name to do all the lawsuits and stuff? You know what I'm talking about, right?
Crump, not Crump.
Yeah, Crump.
Okay.
I tweeted Crump today because he had posted something about that sister that's on MSNBC that got cut, right? And he had the nerve to tweet, MSNBC needs to explain why they discontinued this sister's show. And I tweeted him back, said, MSN don't have to explain shit. It's their business. Why we continue to beg these people for something we could do for ourselves? You got all these people with money begging MSNBC, begging CNN, begging this one and begging that one instead of pooling your money together and starting your own.
I didn't know she got cut. It's Tiffany Cross.
Tiffany Cross.
She comes on Saturdays. She used to come on Saturdays, weekends with Tiffany Cross. I think
she got cut. She got cut. And then everybody's in the uproar that MSNBC cut her. Why are you upset? Why are we always shocked? And why are we always wanting white people to explain to us about how they run their business? Like I don't understand that. I don't. Somebody explain it to me. Everybody in an uproar because people are on Twitter using the N-word. Then don't follow those people. Or get off of Twitter. It don't offend me. I don't like niggas neither. I love black people. I don't like niggas. So I'm not offended. I'm not offended at all because I don't like them neither. So why are we up in an uproar? let's then stop using Twitter. Why don't black people they had the nerve to have black Twitter within Twitter. Well, then stay your ass on the black Twitter side. Don't cross the line and go on the white Twitter side. If we're not going to build our own Twitter or build our own social network, that we don't have to worry about that.
So I do want we had a quote. Shout out to Wild Man Steve. Tiffany Cross did have a good show, and she was speaking truth to power on her show. I wasn't able to catch it every Saturday, but I did catch a couple of them, and the show was powerful, and there was a lot more black issues discussed than are usually discussed on MSNBC, and she had some black guests on there that probably might not have been on MSNBC if they weren't on her show, and she dealt with some issues. So I did want to address that. She had a good show. Wild Man Steve also said black folks made Twitter. You know, we have to understand our value.
Exactly.
We support a lot of people who do not support us, and yes, sometimes we don't have that. We do have several people at this point in the black community and entertainment or whatever that have money. You know, it's not at the point where we don't have money for anything. We do have a lot of black people who have connections, and there's going to have to be a point where I believe what Damon is saying, but if not, this is what I'm saying. Well, we stop begging to sit at the white man's table and we create our own thing. Our tax dollar, our money is what fuels this economy. You know, them giving you stimulus checks was not about they wanted to make sure that you were okay. They knew that you would spend it, and they needed to energize the economy. So that's why you got that money. We fuel this economy. We support all these major corporations that don't care about us. And we need to support our own. We need to build our own. And we need to stop. We need to take our money. You can't see black people. We give our money away freely and then we demand respect. It's kind of backwards. You want take your money from these organizations. Take your money from these organizations and make and see. I was in Atlanta, and the Hispanic community was hugely disrespected. And I don't know who put it together. I don't know how it went down. All I know is they said on Wednesday, no Hispanics are going to show up to work anywhere. They damn near shut the state of Georgia down for one day. No Hispanics at all showed up to work. They damn near shut the state down for the day. There was no traffic on the interstate. There was it was easy to move around. They showed their importance. We have to stop begging for respect and demand our respect. And we have to. Martin Luther King. People like to quote Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King. One of his last speeches before he was shot, before he was assassinated, he was talking about redistributing the pain. We give all these people all this money. We spend all our money to support all these corporations. We need to redistribute the pain. These organizations these companies that don't respect us, stop spending money with them. All together. Stop spending money with them. You're making their bottom line, and they know that no matter what they do to you, you're still going to spend their money. So no, they don't respect you. Take your money from them.
But we unfortunately, like even with the NFL boycott, it was still black folks that was watching the NFL and participating in the LFL, and then they tricked more black folks by bringing in Jay-Z, and we fall for the foolery. Black people, as I said in my video and dealing with Kanye, you know, we prove every day we wake up. I don't care how black power you are. I don't care what 5%, 10%. I don't care what you call yourself. We prove every day we wake up that white lives matter. Because the first thing we pick up is that cell phone, and ain't no black cell phone company. Ain't no black cell phone service, right? We getting cars, ain't no black cars, ain't no black tire company, ain't no black engine company, ain't no black, basically ain't no black gas station like a Exxon or something like that. Ain't no big black hotels we could go throughout the nation. Ain't no black airlines. So if white folks disappear tomorrow, we be in trouble. When we get mad at someone wearing a White Lives Matter t-shirt, right? So we don't have an infrastructure as black people.
And let me just say, the opposite of that is also true. If black people left this country or something and took all their money with them and didn't spend another dollar, white people would be in trouble. I want to make sure that
that's my point. With $1.6 trillion in consumers,
yeah,
right? Consumers, we generate in business the lowest out of all ethnic groups. Even lower than Latinos. Our receipts that we generate is the lowest in black business. We own less land now in 2022 than we did after we was freed slaves. Think about that. See, and we understand, if you understand the Constitution, you ain't free unless you own some land. That's real talk. And ain't nothing changed because we ain't put no amendments to that. So we own less land. We spend $1.something trillion. We spend more money than some countries spend to operate on bullshit. Just being a consumer.
Everybody's talking about, okay.
So when do we get to the point where we want to be about infrastructure? So every time we don't have a nigga wake-up call, like Paul Mooney says, when they fire somebody, when they go after somebody, when they deal with somebody biasly and not deal with other people, other ethnic groups the same way. Because we don't have an infrastructure. They don't go in other ethnic groups, communities, and do what they do like they do to ours because we don't have an infrastructure.
Yo, when everybody was talking about the Adidas dropping Kanye, and that was the story, that ran the headlines. Adidas owes black people a debt. We kept that company afloat, starting with when they put Adidas on Jesse Owens' feet in 1940 when he won 3 medals in the Olympics. We have been the only thing that has kept that company afloat. Run DMC single-handedly saved that company with their My Adidas movement and all of that. And Kanye was a great portion of their bottom line now. This, you know what I'm saying? We support this company. And we have to stop supporting these companies that disrespect us.
No, I agree. But not just Adidas.
No, but I'm calling out specifically Adidas because that was the topic, that was the conversation. Well, Tommy Hilfiger never said the comment that was the rumor. He never went on Oprah and said that Oprah has
no. I get it, but we kept Tommy Hilfiger out of bankruptcy. Black folks, right? Timberland, right? We kept Timberland. We made Timberland what it is. Black folks, hip hop. Right? We made Donald Trump before he became the new Donald Trump. Black folks, hip hop. Trump was in every rap lyric.
Everybody's talking about being in the Trump Tower, having no problem in the Trump Tower,
exactly.
staying in the Trump Hotel. Yeah,
exactly. But guess what? We still don't. We don't own hip hop. We don't own hip hop. We don't own rap music. They proved that, right? We don't own none of that. That's what Prince was trying to tell us when he put slave on his face. And he turned his name, because he realized he didn't own all that.
Well, not only did he not own that, once he signed the contract, he no longer owned his name.
Exactly.
So when he wanted to leave them, because Prince will record 4 albums in a year. It takes about 8 months to a year for a label to put out an album from the time you turn it in at that time. By the time they put out the album, he's on 4 albums past that, and he didn't want to work with that album no more. So he decided to leave, but he couldn't leave with his name because they owned his name. So he wanted to show you that he was more powerful than the name and created the symbol and recorded under a symbol until he got the rights back to his name, because he didn't even own his name. When you sign contracts after that, artists didn't even know you were signing over your domain name, even though it didn't exist online. You were signing away all kinds of stuff that you didn't even know that you had. You signed all of that. You signed all of that away.
Right, but the whole thing is, the point is that as Black people, we do not own enough to be self-sufficient as we should, with all the doctorate degrees and all the high salary careers that we have. We still are deficient in our infrastructure and in our business. You can ask any person that understands a little bit of economics. When the money only goes around once in the Black community and it leaves the Black community.
Sometimes it don't go around once, it just goes right out.
Exactly. Other communities, it circles before it leaves. So that means they're benefiting, from the money that is being spent in their community. Black communities are not benefiting from the monies that's spent in their community.
Because the people who own business don't live in the community.
Exactly.
They take the outside the community, and they're not forced to invest in the community because we're going to use their stores regardless.
And it don't even look like the people in the Black. They're not. No, but we feel like we're not good enough to demand that, right? We don't have enough self-awareness and self-respect is to demand that. You're not going to go in another community as a Black person and just open up shop. It ain't going to happen.
You won't last a week.
You
might not last a night. You might not even get started.
Right. And when
try to open up a store in Chinatown or Little Italy,
exactly,
as a Black man, try to or any
exactly.
Jewish neighborhood in Brooklyn.
Exactly.
Try to open up.
I don't even think before you even open up the shop, I don't even think you'll be able to get a lease in one of the buildings if you go in a Jewish community and you talking about you gonna open up a soul food restaurant. You ain't even gonna get a lease. Come on, man. Like we have to do better as a people. We definitely have to do better as a people.
Well, we have our this is a conversation that is going to be ongoing, but we have our guest is here now. Damon, you want to introduce our guest and bring him in?
Yes, our guest coming up, man, and it's been a pleasure to work with this brother, man, an elder from the civil rights community, and he's been coming He's been traveling the country, but he's been.
Okay, we lost Damon. Damon, we lost.
Again?
Yeah,
Oh.
no, you kicked yourself out.
Oh.
Okay, let me bring our guests on the screen here.
I don't know what's going on. Dr. Benjamin Chavis, thank you, sir. Thank you for coming, man.
Thank you very much.
So, and thank you for traveling all the way up to Mount Vernon to have that conversation at the forum about what Westchester County is trying to do with the bill. And in the first interview we did with you, you were on Amtrak or something. Like you did the interview on Amtrak. Like, you didn't even wait till you got to where he was getting. So I appreciate, your time.
Well, thank you. I'm always glad to have an opportunity to discuss with you and other brothers and sisters there in Westchester, across New York and across America. These are some important times that we're living in, and we need everybody to, be on the front line of the struggle, not just to be a bystander, but to contribute to improving the quality of life of our communities. And that's what the struggle is all about. At the end of the day, is how, after our efforts, are we accomplishing improving the quality of life for everybody, not just some, for everybody in our communities and everybody in those in which whose interests we represent. I'm coming to you tonight on behalf of the Black Press of America, the National Newspaper Publishers Association, 238 African-American-owned newspapers and media companies across the United States. And I'm very proud of the Black Press. This year, 2022, is the 195th anniversary of the Black Press. Started in New York, in Manhattan, in Freedom's Journal in 1827, on March 16th, 1827. And since that time, we've been pleading our own cause. Since that time, we've been reporting the news, but we also have been an advocate for freedom, justice, equality, and equity.
Yes, and I want you, before we go into the whole Menthol thing, I want to speak about that being the owners of Black Westchester.
Yeah.
And when we were talking about how we don't have any of our own things, I want to talk about the importance of independent media. Because a lot of our people don't realize the importance of our independent media and don't support the independent media. But I want you to speak on being at the head of the National Newspaper Publishers Association, importance of the independent media.
Yes, independent media. And what we mean by independent, that is owned by brothers and sisters in our communities. A lot of times media is targeted toward our community, but it's not owned by us. And if you look subtly, sometimes a lot of the information that's directed at us or targeted at us is really not in our interest. So like all these polls that are just being taken, the Harris poll, the Gallup poll, you name them, but very few of the polling actually polls our own communities. And that's why I'm a strong advocate of us having our own poll. I'm working with Howard University and some of the HBCUs where the Black Press does its own polling, not just races, but every year, every season, every reason. Our voice, our interests have to be articulated. So you're right, dear brother. Independent media, media owned by communities of color. In this case, media owned by African Americans or people of African descent is so important.
Yeah, I can't get that. I try to beat that home a lot, but people don't realize it. And sometimes we're trying to unplug our people from the matrix, and sometimes I feel like I'm banging my head against the wall. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I want to give up, but we can't give up because our voice is important.
Exactly. To me, rather we should own the matrix.
Yes.
We should own the platform.
Yes.
We should own the distribution network. And obviously, God has blessed our people. We're blessed with creativity. We're blessed with talent. But a lot of times, other people, other than who live in our community, go to the bank off of our talent, go to the bank off of our creativity, go to the bank off of our labor.
That's right.
A lot of the so-called old money wealth in America was generated by the forced and free slave labor that our foreparents had to endure. Earlier today, I just listened to a tape from Fannie Lou Hamer, who was this great freedom fighter in Mississippi, getting the right to vote. And a lot of our people today are talking about, well, my vote don't count, my vote. If they would listen to what Fannie Lou Hamer went through just to get the right to vote, they shot at this sister 15 times. And after working on a plantation for 18 years, they put her off of the plantation when she dared to register to vote.
Right.
So I just think that it is voting time, and I hope that we have a massive voter turnout in Westchester, you know, and there are issues. When I was last in Westchester, I was shocked to find out that Mount Vernon doesn't have a hospital.
Mm.
We do have a hospital, but they've stripped it from the service they stripped the services we need out of it, so it can't serve us.
It's like not having a hospital.
Yeah, it's like not having. We have a building. We do have a building. It is a hospital. It is open, but we can't use it.
Right. Of
no
course.
trauma unit, no maternity ward, no cardiac unit, no none of those things. Yeah.
I mean, look, our people need full service health care, not
That's
part.
right. That's right.
Okay. You know, we work, we pay taxes, we participate. And to me, healthcare is a fundamental human right, not just a civil right. And it should be, other industrialized nations have universal healthcare. Why is it that the United States still does not have universal healthcare? You know, people can talk about Cuba all they want. I've been to Cuba many times. Healthcare is free in Cuba. So the Cubans have healthcare. Why can't the Americans have healthcare?
You know, they talk about, of course, the argument is what it would cost the country. But when you talk about universal health care and preventative means,
exactly, it costs more.
You would have saved so much more money because people wouldn't need those services because they would catch stuff early and take care of themselves.
Brother, you're absolutely right, man, and that's a good segue to this. I was very, quite frankly, shocked when I saw some African American elected officials in Westchester promoting a menthol ban. And of course, I always give everybody the benefit of the doubt. So, well, maybe these brothers are just not informed, or maybe they don't know that brothers and sisters in our community who choose to smoke on their own, they prefer menthol. So, I can understand if they had a prohibition against all cigarettes, but why are you prohibiting only the cigarettes that African Americans and Latinos prefer to smoke? That's the racial discrimination on the surface of public policy. And anytime you have discriminatory public policy, it's going to cause disparities. We just talked about the disparities in healthcare. Now we're going to have disparities in law enforcement. We're going to have disparities in how that, if it passes, I hope it doesn't pass in Westchester, how it's going to be enforced. It's just going to cause more negative interactions between law enforcement and our community.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And they never talk to, so you're talking about making it illegal and to sell it. And they never even talk to the local district attorney's office on what that would be like to prosecute those individuals. You know what I'm saying? They never talk to the health department, who was supposed to be, they said it was not going to be a law enforcement issue. It would be a health department issue. But the health department has never been spoken to about how they were supposed to enforce this.
No, they did have the health department testify, but it was inconclusive if they could handle that. Right? Because the health department is not made to handle that.
Enforcement.
That type of enforcement, and so like how they're just running it back and forth, trying to create a narrative
they talk to the law enforcement people.
Exactly.
They just ignore the blacks in law enforcement.
Exactly.
The first group they should have touched base with were the people who are going to ultimately have to enforce it.
Right.
And they like this. So they claimed when they were there, Brother Chris Johnson, we name names here, who's the county legislator who is pushing the ban. But we have a board of legislators. He's pushing the ban. Another sister, Jules Williams from Greenberg, is pushing the ban. But the white Republican is opposed of the ban. Like that, I just find that, hilarious in itself. But they told us at the panel that it wouldn't be law enforcement involved. But we know that most of these things are sold in the hood, and the health department is not coming in these stores in the hood without some sort of law enforcement to protect them.
Look at what happened to Ed Garner.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And Mrs. His mother was with us.
Yes, she came to Mount Vernon. Yes.
Mount Vernon, and it was interesting. The two legislators that you spoke to hardly spent any time with her.
Mm.
She's a living witness to what happens when public policy goes against the interests of our community. That's why we talk about unintended consequences. I think that the two legislators you named, I think they're well-intentioned, but they're misinformed. Mm-hmm. I think they are not doing a thorough analysis of the consequences of what's going to happen in Westchester, what's going to happen in Mount Vernon, what's going to happen in other cities in Westchester County if this ordinance is passed.
Absolutely. And, when I did speak, the one thing I spoke about, we had as people, we called for things. We called for some kind of intervention from the government during the crack era. And we ended up with the crime bill that led to the mass incarceration of Black people. We called for, it was unfortunate that when marijuana was still illegal, people with small possession of marijuana would have to stay in jail because they couldn't afford bail. You know what I'm saying? And white people who had money could just bail themselves out. And we came up with a bail reform. But all of these things, the bail reform that needs to be reformed. You know what I'm saying? Like we're rushing to pass these things in forms of legislation without investigating all of the unintended consequences. And now everybody's talking about how the crime bill was a bad thing. Yes, we called for something, you know what I'm saying? But we as a people also got to be more specific in what we call for. When we call for something, we want something.
I mean, I think that's such a very important point. To me, as I look back over the last 100 years, the last 75 years, I'm 75 years old, we should learn from our history, not repeat it.
That's right.
And what the African-American legislators in Westchester County are doing, they're repeating history. Mm-hmm. They're not coming up with any new remedies. They're not coming up with any new policies. And every time they repeat history, it hurts our people. I guarantee you, when they decided not to make that hospital a full-service hospital, who made those decisions? Right. It certainly wasn't in the interest of the people who live in Mount Vernon. And similarly, I think that when I was there in Westchester, I asked the lady, where was she getting her statistics from? And she said, well, this is fact. I said, no, that's not fact.
That's right.
People are not addicted to menthol. People are addicted to nicotine.
Nicotine. Wait, their medical professional came on our show and said that. Their medical professional came on our show and said that.
Right. So, but she said at the panel we were at that people were that Black people were addicted to menthol. That was exactly what she said. Now, how? And she's the proponent of the bill. Lord have mercy.
Yeah, their doctor, their medical expert, Dr. Paul Garnier, I think his name was.
Garnier, yes.
Yeah. He said nicotine is the addictive factor, and nicotine is in every cigarette.
You're right, but Paul is not a medical doctor.
Right, I found that out. We found that out too.
I mean, there are a whole lot of doctors around here. But
one of our co-hosts that's coming on soon, Dr. Bob. He's a doctor of sociology. He's not a medical doctor, but he's Dr. Bob though. He got a degree. Yeah.
So I'm just saying that, and Malcolm used to say, "Don't go for the okie doke."
That's right.
And unfortunately, in Westchester right now, in real time, some of our elected officials are going for the okie doke.
Doc.
Can I say one more thing?
Uh-huh.
And the thing that was pointed out by our listeners, every time he said something, that doctor, they were like, where can we find this information? And he never provided it. Now, when Damon brought out a statistic saying that when we start talking about untaxed cigarettes, and most of the cigarettes that's sold in New York are of the untaxed cigarette variety, like 60% through the whole state, and even more in the city in New York City. He wanted to know where we got that. Damon quickly gave him a link.
Exactly.
You understand what I'm saying? But he never gave us a link to anything to back up what he was saying, because we asked for it, and our listeners were asking, where is that information? Where can we read this for ourselves? Where are you getting this information from?
I wonder where these brothers and sisters stand on guns. They want to ban menthol, but they want to ban guns. All the violence is going on, all this killing is going on. One of the reasons why we had the Million Man March in 1995 was because the Centers for Disease Control determined that young black males were an endangered species. This is in after the crime bill of 94.
That's right.
People were, and you're right. I remember there was a group of people in Brooklyn who were demanding that the governor bring out the National Guard to stop black on black crime. And of course, thank God the governor didn't do that, because that wouldn't have helped. But what we found out at the Million Man March, we have to play a role in ending the violence in our own community.
That's right.
We have to respect one another, love one another, treat each other as brothers and sisters. And on that one day, October the 16th, 1995, black on black crime went down to almost zero level all over America.
That's right.
The people that were attended, there was so many opposing people, Bloods and Crips, and everybody in attendance.
That's right.
And everybody was respectful of everybody.
That's right. That's right. So if we can do it one day, we should get the courage and the stamina and the persistence to do it every day. So my thing is, if they pass this menthol ban, which I hope they don't, it's going to not only increase illegal and illicit cigarette trafficking in Westchester County.
That's right.
Break out in violence. People will go to war on whose territory are selling illegal cigarettes.
That's right.
It's crazy.
That's right.
A truckload of illegal cigarettes, just a little truckload, a little van, is $3 million, $4 million.
That's right. That's right.
So they're going to make more profit selling illegal cigarettes than slinging drugs.
That's right. That's right.
So I hope I guess the appropriate thing is to say, I'm hoping that the legislators there in Westchester will reconsider. They still have time. They need to withdraw that proposal, reconsider, and bring more people in the community. And they need to listen to community representatives.
That's right.
How can you introduce a bill without even getting the input first from the community?
That's right.
Telling people this is going to protect you, and you don't talk to the people that you're trying to protect on what their feel is about it. Or, in the conversation, there's so many aspects, at the doctor that came on to debate us to make their case.
Yes.
Ended up leaving, telling Damon, I see your point. I agree with you. He said that several times.
Right.
At the end of our interview.
Right. I know it's a tall brother. I know the brother. I run into him a lot, and I think this brother's well-intentioned, but, he's funded. Former mayor is putting out millions of dollars to ban menthol.
Right. Yeah. So
and I think it's interesting that I think it's more than interesting. I think it's shameful that white Republicans are going to wind up trying to protect black people in Westchester more than black Democrats when the Democrats get all the black votes.
See,
what's wrong with that formula?
Brother, you about to take it to you're about to take it to down another road. But how do we use our vote? And then when we put people in, they don't do our interests. Like it's their interests. It's not the people's interest.
We have to put people in, absolutely. But sometimes we have to put people out.
There you go.
I mean, we got to be, look, there's a lot of talented and gifted brothers and sisters who could well serve the political interests of Westchester. Need
That's
to put
right.
some brothers and sisters up in them offices. You know,
we need a couple of things like campaign finance reform. And we also need to support our candidates financially.
That's
there are
right.
a lot of good people.
Mhm.
So somebody close to us, I won't even mention his name for this interview, he was running, and my sister knew all the good things that he was doing in our community. My sister doesn't live in New York right now.
Right. Okay.
But she was like, it concerns me that he's running because politics corrupts good people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
These people need money to run. So they get money from people whose interest is not ours. And because we don't have our own PACs and we can't financially pay, we can't financially support a candidate for them to win. And basically, I mean, whether we like it or not, who spends the most money, their calls get answered first. I mean, let's keep it real. Like you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, so that's part of the problem too.
Unfortunately, Ray and Raekwon is not donating to campaign funds, right? So their issues are not addressed, just like the developer that donates, you know, $10,000-$15,000, you know, all the elections, and that's what we see, right? We see a lot of our black politicians in Westchester controlled by these developers. And when they get in, it's about making the developers rich and them rich, and there's no programs in the community, and the community's not getting what they need.
Damon, let's look at this. I'm glad you raised it. We need our own developers.
That's right.
If we had our own developers, then our own developers would donate the money to the right people for the right cause.
That's right.
You see what I'm saying?
That's right.
And I looked. Well, the last time I was in West, I saw a lot of plans for development. Some of it is gentrification. Some of it is just displacing.
That's right.
Who are indigenous will not be able to afford to live because the developers don't have them in mind.
That's right.
The developers looking for people who can pay higher rents, higher standard. And if you're not careful, like if you go to parts of Harlem now, some parts of Harlem, black people can't afford to live.
That's right.
Because of gentrification. Same thing in Washington, D.C. If you go to 14th and U, who used to be the hood here in Washington, it looks like Georgetown now. Right. So the economic piece is, and a lot of the candidates that serve our community are financed from outside of our community.
That's right.
And if they're financed from inside, they're financed from insiders who profit off of the exploitation of our people.
That's right. That's right.
So it's a serious matter we definitely have to fix.
I'm glad you went, and you mentioned Washington, D.C. My sister lives in Northern Virginia, right outside D.C. I take the bus to our house several times a year to get a break from here. Sure. And what you said is how those areas got built up. And you know the result? That tent city right outside of Union Station. They had tent city, all the homeless. Them people are homeless now. They ain't got nowhere to go. That's they right. Literally had a tent city like in that area. Right when I come out of Union Station, that area, that island was tent city. There was nothing but homeless people there. Now they ran them off. I don't know where the homeless people are. But when you run these people out of their communities, they have nowhere to go, and that's the result.
Exactly.
That we don't want to deal with.
Exactly, and that's happening across the United States.
Yes.
You know, we need to pay great attention to our economics. To our economic sustainability, because increasingly African Americans are becoming homeless. Increasingly, we're losing our land. A lot of African American families own thousands and thousands of land down in the South. A lot of them sometimes didn't pay taxes on that land. Has been grabbed up.
That's right. That's right.
A lot of people are trying to go back and farm, but farming has also changed now. So all things have to be looked at, but. Let me tell you, I thought about coming on the show tonight. I have reasons to be optimistic. Mm-hmm. Let me tell you why. I think that, and I think there's going to be some surprises at this midterm election. the black vote in some of these key states is going to be the determinative vote.
Mm.
And again, you can't pay attention to these polls because the polls are trying to say, well, black men are not voting. There's only black women voting. I happen to know that everybody in our communities, the ones that have been mobilized, are going to vote. Black women, black youth, black men. We should always be careful with these theories that try to divide us. The black family does not need to be divided.
That's right.
The black community does not need to be divided. We need more unity. And that's why, even after this election coming up on Tuesday, I'm looking forward to coming back to Westchester, where we can talk about some of these economic matters.
Great. Mm-hmm.
Where we can talk about how to make sure that they don't impose this menthol ban. Where we can talk about giving our young people. I find that our young people are hungry and thirsty for information. And that's
right.
why back to black-owned media is so important.
Mm-hmm.
They get their information. A lot of stuff on social media is inaccurate.
That's right.
So we have to make sure that we direct and recommend to our people the right portals to go to get the truth, to get the information. I was so sorry to hear that Pastor Butts passed away at Abyssinia.
Yes.
And I hope they find someone to, first of all, may he rest in peace and will protect his legacy. But the only reason I bring this up, a lot of the preachers that we used to have back in the day are no longer there.
That's right.
A lot of the grassroots organizers that we had are no longer there.
Mm-hmm.
So we got to make sure, and that's why I was a strong supporter of the Black Lives Matter movement. And a lot of people criticize, the young people just might. Well, that's okay. That's the first stage. But all of our movements have to have structure. All of our movements have to be able to replenish their leadership.
That's right.
We shouldn't have to wonder who's going to be next. We should have a line of people ready to go.
That's right.
And train and mentorship. That's another thing.
Mm-hmm.
Mentor. Like when I was, my father was a brick mason. So even though I wound up studying chemistry in college, I can go, if I lost every job I had, I can go lay a straight row of bricks right now. Taught me how to make bricks when I was 6 years old.
That's right.
How to do something with your hands.
That's right.
And I think that a lot of times we got a lot of brothers and sisters looking for a job. We need to be thinking more entrepreneurial. We should be the employer, not just the employee.
That's right.
We should be the developer, not just the people waiting for the development.
That's right.
There's so many things. And I think having your program, I just want to give you a strong shout out. I think what you do consistently on the radio, what you do consistently in the media, what you do consistently in providing this platform, that's like a drum beat in the community. Even in the early days of slavery, the first thing they did was take away the drum so we couldn't communicate.
That's right. That's right.
But you're communicating, and the truth that's being communicated, I think, will arouse a sense of wanting to fight for freedom, will arouse a sense of not saying yes to anything that's not in our interest. And I think that Westchester is going to be a test case, in my view. And I hope that we can definitely fight back this menthol ban.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. For everybody that's watching, I believe, Dr. Ben, you're going to be in Westchester Thursday, correct?
We're going to try. We're working on it.
Right. But anyway, we're going to have a press conference on Thursday in front of the county building because on next Monday, they're having the public hearing on the menthol ban. But we're going to have a press conference on Thursday, God willing. Dr. Ben will be there.
Do you know what time the public is?
No, but I will find out and make sure you get it.
Okay. And what time is the press conference on Thursday?
11 a.m.
All right. Thank you. Okay. 11
a.m. at the Westchester County building to inform not only the legislators, but the county exec.
Great.
That this is not a bill that should be passed. And if it gets to his desk, it should be vetoed and sent back because it's a biased bill. Black people should not be forced into something while white people can smoke with impunity.
Exactly.
And the law enforcement aspect of it. So we just want to inform the public and let them know they should be there on Monday to let the legislators know how they feel, especially from the Black community.
Yes, very good.
I have one question for you, and this is on a whole nother note. This is as the National Newspaper Publishers Association, as a Black newspaper, who's unbought, unbossed, independent, free, and there are others. You know what I'm saying? And I want you to speak to them on how the importance of organizations like yours are bringing us together.
Yes.
And the attack on independent media. How do you survive? You know what I'm saying? Because, all right, so a lot of people won't say stuff because they're scared to lose their money. You know what I'm saying? We speak on it. We're not going to get that money, but we still got to survive, though. So talk if you could speak about that from your position.
Well, thank you. Well, we live in an era of cancel culture, where if you say something, the first thing people try to do is to eliminate your voice, prevent you from speaking, or even punish you from speaking. The way we fight that is we band together. The way we fight that is that we amplify our voices rather than lower our voices. The way we fight that is networking. For example, I would like to know, and if you can help me identify all those independent-owned media. We've made room now in the national. It used to be you couldn't be a member of the NNPA if you were not printing a newspaper. We changed the rules. So now, if you're independent, if you're an African-American-owned media source, you can be a member of the NNPA. And I want to help build this network, because in our unity, we not only share resources, but we also share information. For example, we don't own Twitter. Elon Musk just bought that. We don't own Facebook. We don't own Instagram. We don't own YouTube. We don't own LinkedIn. We don't own Snapchat. We don't own any of these platforms. If we work together and build a network, we could own our own platform.
That's right. That's right.
Generate resources for all the members of the network.
That's right.
So to me, I think we've shown how to network politically, but we have not shown, in my view, sufficiently enough how to network economically.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's right. That's right.
How to deal, and I was very serious, not just rhetorical. We need our own developers. And what we should do is to take some of the subcontractors who work for the larger developers and set up our own development company, our own community economic development resource agency. All these banks, the major banks, they're required to do community redevelopment, but most of that money doesn't go to our own businesses or our developers. In fact, I talk to a lot of Black real estate agents. A lot of them, they don't even think about being a developer.
Right.
So it's how we have to approach what God has blessed us with, and that's ourselves, so that we can organize, so that we can build structure, so we can create businesses that serve our interests. Once upon a time, there used to be Black Wall Streets all over the United States. It wasn't just in Tulsa.
That's right.
Where there was whole strips where we owned everything, even our own movie theaters, even our own butcher shops, our own everything. You think you name it, we used to own it. Now, it's hard to find a Black-owned business on 125th Street and Lennox Avenue.
You ain't lying.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying? But I think having the media, I'm going back to my point about the media being the drumbeat. We have to beat the drum on this.
Mm-hmm.
We have to reawaken people of our own potential, our own possibilities. And I used to tell young people all the time, I worked with Dr. King as I was a teenager. And Dr. King used to tell us, he said, sons and daughters, the young people in the SCLC at the time, said, don't get in the movement if you don't believe in the movement.
That's right.
And we have to believe in our success. We have to believe in our ability to transcend these difficulties, these obstacles that are deliberately put in our place. And most of all, we have to do away with the envy and the jealousy and the backstabbing that goes on in our community.
That's right.
I know I'm being a little bit graphic here, but
but you're being real.
I think we pull each other down in these communities rather than lift each other up. And some of that's going on right now in Westchester. You know,
absolutely.
Where people are being very selfish with these public policies.
That's right.
But I'm thinking about the impact on the masses of our people.
That's right.
Have to be called out.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
We always, as always, we thank you for your time, brother, and your words of wisdom. And
thank you, sir.
And anytime I get a chance to just pick your brain, I think one of the things we realize, we let a lot of our elders pass with wealth of knowledge, and we don't pick their brains, and then it's our responsibility to pass that on to the next generation. So anytime I get a chance to pick your brain, I am going to pick your brain. So,
well, thank you. But listen, dear brothers, I look forward to getting back up to Westchester as soon as I can.
Yes, sir.
To all the listeners, please, let's stop the menthol ban.
That's
to all the listeners and viewers, we got work to do. Let's roll up our sleeves. We need a record turnout on the vote on Tuesday, and then we need to probably have a come to Jesus meeting with these legislators that think that they can just propose anything and walk away, and then the consequences will be on our community. No, we need policies that will serve our interests on the front end, not through the back door, but on the front end policies. So God bless you, and thank you for giving me an opportunity, to be with you. I'm so proud that y'all are still beating the drum.
Thank you.
Justice, equality, and equity.
Thank you, brother. Have a good night. Thank you.
Thank you for inviting us to the NNPA, even though it's not official yet.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
We gotta pay a bill. We'll be right back, y'all.
It's going down Saturday, November 12th. Doug B Productions and Billy Rajan presents A Night of Elegance with a live performance by Intro. A Night of Elegance starring Intro. Intro live at the Coliseum, Saturday, November 12th. A Night of Elegance starring Intro. This is an event you don't want to miss. With music provided by DJ Chris Love, DJ Kid New, and DJ Kool-Aid. Live and direct at the Coliseum, 15 South Broadway in White Plains, New York. For tickets and information, call 914-403-8376 or 914-874-9415. Intro at the Coliseum, Saturday, November 12th. We are the soul of New York. 108 Soul.
And we're back. Well, I'm back. I don't know where my man AJ's at. I see Jeff Monroe in the waiting room. My brother's been waiting for a while, man. Tober Thomas, he been waiting. He been in the back room for a while. We're going to have to bring this brother in, man.
That's Dr. Bob. Yeah, that's Dr. Bob's guest. We need Dr. Bob.
Where's Dr. Bob?
He need to get on the camera and introduce his guests.
Yeah, where's Dr. Bob, man?
There you go. There you go.
That's Bob. Bob. What's up, Bob?
What's up?
I'm chilling, man. How you, my brother? Ain't seen you on the show in a minute, man.
It's good to see. Can you all hear me?
Yes. We hear you.
For one, it's good to see you too, brother. Jones. It's been a minute. As you know, I've been absorbed in other things. And spending less time on the show, although I do make, in a more occasional appearance, but of course, I would like everyone to know that I continue to support the Black Westchester People Before Politics movement behind the scenes, in many ways, and I'll have a chance to put my support to the effort, hopefully in the next week or so.
Hey man, did you go see Joe Biden?
No, I didn't. No.
For those that don't know, Joe Biden came to Westchester today and was in Yonkers.
Oh, I thought you said Bob went to see Joe Biden, man.
No. Bob didn't go. Cynthia went.
Bob has important things to do, and I don't need to be anyone's political fan.
And that's what I told Jamal Bowman when he called me talking about why isn't Black Westchester there broadcasting live?
Broadcasting live, bro.
I was like, yo, I got so much things to do. I'm not leaving the house today unless there's a check involved. And I'm no disrespect to the president.
I mean, saying like Black Westchester broadcasting live. Man, what's our name? Black Westchester. We not broadcasting that. No.
So moving on, Bob, introduce your guest. Often, when Bob brings to the show, discussions on other things that sometimes we don't think about, and he always makes a suggestion. And he has a couple of guests.
Absolutely.
And I want Bob to talk about that and introduce his guests that are here.
All right.
Yes.
I'm going to take a break while Bob is in. I'll be right back.
All right.
Go ahead, Bob.
Yes. So I think one of the consistent themes that have been expressed when people before politics to our audience is the importance of civic involvement and the recognition that it's not just during election time that we really need to be involved in our communities, but between election time. And for tonight's segment, I have Brother Talbert Thomas and Brother Jeff Monroe, who our audience may realize are important community leaders here in the city of Mount Vernon, who have been involved in a number of efforts recently to really try to get people to become more involved in the civic debate and discussions about that are now taking off in the city of Mount Vernon as we grapple with new issues. For one, Brother Jeff has sponsored a number of community forums as of late, and one of the catalysts for that was the proposal to open up a marijuana dispensary in the city of Mount Vernon. While I think many people recognize that there's tremendous economic rewards that come with the decriminalization of marijuana, nevertheless, people also have a number of legitimate concerns. And so that's one of the issues that was taken up at the forum that Brother Jeff has spearheaded. I think Brother Jeff Monroe has spearheaded, and I believe it's maybe every third, fourth Saturday. When is it regularly meet, Brother Jeff?
We've tried to establish a monthly pattern of community conversations in it, and it hadn't taken. I think we had 3 so far, but it hadn't established the monthly pattern we wanted to. So
right,
we really haven't. I think it was May or June, but we're gonna keep trying.
Well, please do, Brother Jeff. You're one who does not need to be persuaded as to the importance of persistence and discipline. I know oftentimes when my spirit is flagging on some community project, it's often you who encourages me to redouble my effort, get rejuvenated, and let's get back in there in the game. One reason that, in addition to Brother Jeff, we also have Brother Talbert Thomas. This is my first time having the pleasure of meeting Brother Tal in person. We've spoken a lot over the phone in recent months, but this is the first time we get to lay eyes on one another. And so, Brother Tal, it's a pleasure. Talbert has also been spearheading efforts to try to get the people in the city of Mount Vernon more actively involved in the day-to-day civic planning that is really going to determine the city's future. Specifically, Tal reached out to me at least and made me aware, him and Brother Jeff, as a matter of fact, reached out to me and made me aware that there is planning now around to get input from the community on a new comprehensive plan that is now is going to be under consideration in the days and months ahead. And one of the things that Tal did do was share with me the first online community forum that was held earlier this week, I think on Thursday evening, and then subsequently on Friday. This is the first. I was unable to make the meeting, but this is the first of a number of ongoing meetings, and between the two of them, Brother Jeff and Brother Tal, would like us to encourage us to get involved. And so maybe on that point, I'll maybe start off with Brother Tal to give us a summary of exactly what's going on. You can even give us some background, Brother Tal, because maybe just tell the people a little bit about yourself, and then the specific issue call that you wanted to issue tonight.
Well, thank you very much. I hope everyone hears me.
Yes, we can hear you.
Very good. Yeah, tonight was very special. I have to just say that I was moved. I'm a contemporary of Dr. Chavis, and we were actually together 27 years ago on October 16th, 1995. So I was surprised to hear him talking about that at the Million Man March. And much of what I actually do in the community now is based upon commitments that I and a group of men from the city of Mount Vernon, at that time, men who were involved with Greater Centennial Church, was a commitment that we made to be civically engaged in our community when we returned. So tonight was very special, and I was very moved by the two conversations segments that were taking place beforehand. But I'm gonna take this liberty talking about coincidences. AJ and I met, I guess it was about 7 to 8 years ago, at a community conversation, Roosevelt Square. It was held by Alberto Rapuzzo, who was a former city council member. It was a Saturday, and she had just introduced the concept of holding kind of open forums, what we came to respond to as town halls. Okay. And AJ and I were both a part of that, and we met each other. And I'm going to take this opportunity to say something that he taught me. In our conversations, although he wasn't pressing it, he told me that we needed to be involved in supporting our assets, the assets of our community, of which Black Westchester was. I wasn't a supporter until I met AJ, and it dawned upon me we need to be supporting that. So I just wanted to tell him, in preparation for tonight, I went to your Facebook page, and I went to the PayPal pay part. I put in my donation,
and we greatly appreciate that.
Retiree on a limited income.
Right.
I had told myself every time I talk to you, or before I talk to you, I was going to put them dockets down because we have to support media. And I was glad that Dr. Chavis talked about that tonight. So my dockets, and I don't want to be talking to you too often because I'll probably be broke.
No, we greatly appreciate that. And I mentioned it to Dr. Bob when I saw
it. So having said that, community conversations, the ability to talk with one another, even with those that you may not share total alignment, is extremely important. In this sense, we're looking forward to laying a plan that will build a city of which there will be a multiplicity of different interest groups, racial groups, ethnic groups. And we have to have a vision of what that city should be in order to accommodate the amalgam of different needs, different visions. We have to homogenize that beforehand. Otherwise, it may be too difficult. So this comprehensive plan, which would be the first, I think, in 54 years, if we're successful, we get it approved, it'll be maybe 56 years. It'll be the first time that we have a chance to come together as a community and do something that has hopefully foresight, do something that speaks to the differences as well as the ideas that unify us as an overall group of people. I don't know if I, in actuality, am going to be able to embrace that in terms of the amount of time, in terms of the things that we hope will be implemented from putting that vision together. But as was said earlier, individuals like myself, who may be somewhat further down the road, we have to impart what wisdom, what ideas from the past that we may have that might be productive to that enterprise. And we're hoping that we can tap on the tremendous resources that we have in terms of our people here in Mount Vernon. And I would say that, you know, we have people with international businesses, national engagements. We have people appearing on MSNBC from Mount Vernon that no one seems to really be aware of. We have those people living within our touch, and we have to touch them and touch everyone that we possibly can who will have some semblance of interest and input in the development of that comprehensive plan as such. So we began to introduce this on Thursday and Friday, as Dr. Bob said, with Zoom sessions that we've been running as neighborhood associations. We've been doing that for the past approximately 2 years with the Federated Conservationists of Westchester County, who has kind of been a supporter of this whole concept of going back into our neighborhoods, reimagining those neighborhoods, retooling them, repurposing them so that we can begin at the grassroots level to pull people together and move them towards hopefully a common vision for the future. And that's what took place on Thursday and Friday. It was the first two discussions that we had. We had the good fortune of being able to have a newly appointed director of planning for Mount Vernon, James Rouse, who was there and who gave us a glimpse into the process that he would be overseeing. And we had one of our city council people, Ed Poteet. Ed will be the responsible elected official to provide oversight for this process as such. So it's the conversations, you know, as AJ and I experience, it's the conversations that are needed right now. We have to begin to draw these ideas and get them on the table to ensure that we have diversity, that we have innovation, that we have a plan of some substance that will look to providing a community of the future for us. And that's something that Brother Jeff has been doing, is helping us develop the art of conversation with his Saturday sessions, you know, giving us a chance to come together and to speak with one another. And the Federated Conservationists of Westchester County, they took a big chance on saying, look, they would be there with us to help us do that over the past year and a half. Their involvement is going to be somewhat diminishing now that their director, who has been a significant part of this, Ann Jaffe Holmes, is moving on. But she has been with us. She's almost like a Mount Vernonite now. She's been there, and she has helped and made this possible for us to kind of get a focus as to where we should be going and how we should accomplish that for the future.
So
I want. Can I say something real quick? So I'm very interested in what you're talking about, and I do know we haven't had. Well, I called it a master plan. We haven't had a master plan for the city since the '60s when we first started Black Westchester. Dwayne Brown, when he was at the Mount Vernon Chamber of Commerce, he actually gave me the booklet or whatever that was our master plan from the 60s that was almost as old as I was. And he wanted me, take it, check it out and everything. Yeah, I refused to put it in my hands for too long because the pages was falling apart. The back cover just came off while it was in my hands. I didn't want to be responsible if this is the only copy of this document. So I was like, make a copy of it and give me the copy. I never got a copy. But in it, it warned the city of Mount Vernon to not do certain things that we have done that they said would be detrimental to the city. If you actually read that, and it had a different plan for the city than what we now see now. We didn't follow that master plan, and we haven't had a master plan since then. We've been running with the no plan or whatever it is. Like we just been doing things all willy nilly. With a master plan, like when they took over 125th Street, you had anchors They put that Magic Johnson Theater on one end. You had Pathmark and something on the other end. They put something in the middle, and then they build in between to this thing that they build on 125th Street. That that's a master plan. They had a plan. They didn't just throw things up just here and there. You know what I'm saying? That weren't good for the community. They actually had a plan. We need that, and so I'm so glad to hear that there's someone talking about this, because we haven't had one. I think Clinton tried to do one, but then he lost his election, so he never got his plan approved and everything else. But we haven't had an official one since I'm 56, and that plan is either my age or almost older than me. That the document was falling apart. I didn't even want to hold it in my hand, Yeah. Go ahead, Dr. Bob. I know you was getting ready to say something.
So, for one, I do want to stress to our audience that we're in a moment of tremendous flux right now, precisely because of all of the crises that have been building up since the last master plan was adopted, and especially important for us to be aware of is the growing concern with environmental justice and making sure that our energy and waste elimination systems are environmentally sound. The city of Mount Vernon, as we know, has been notorious for a number of problems related to the environment, and participation in the discussion for the comprehensive plan is one way to ensure that some of those concerns, which are often given the short shrift by developers and other vested interests that often have the most powerful voices around the table when it comes to planning, tend to be less interested in. So people want to see a Mount Vernon as environmentally sound, where our kids are not poisoned by failing sewer systems and other kind of problems, is urgent that people begin to get involved. That's number one. Number two, I wanted to say, Tal, you urged people to sign up for the Thursday, Friday session. I must confess to our audience, I was a bit slow and only got to do it today. And so I wasn't fully successful in signing up. For those who want to get more information about how to sign up for the form, do you have, and I hope the laughter, the chuckle means that you don't have any info, but do you have any more contact information for people who are interested in signing up for the forms and making sure that their name is on the list in the future?
Well, I'm laughing because Dr. Bob, those forums have already taken place. They were Thursday and Friday last week. So you've missed them altogether. Now there
So that was why you had a problem signing up today.
No. That part I understood. I was under the impression that they would provide some permanent link. And even if you are unable to attend, that you could have your name added to the mailing list.
Yes. Now, I have already put into the chat contact information for my neighborhood association. Earlier in the program, I put it in, so they have to scroll back a little bit. But our contact information for my neighborhood association. Neighborhood associations are, in a way, driving their own resurgence along with this process of gathering in local input. So I'm with Chester Hill Park Neighbors Association. I'll repeat that again because you can Google it. You can put it on Facebook query and it'll take you to our Facebook page. And that's a way to keeping in contact with us. And I put Chester Hill Park's email address in the chat also. So that's one way of getting informed. And if you would want a copy, I am not yet in possession of it. So I don't want to talk about something I don't have, but hopefully in the next 48 hours, I will have the videotape of those two sessions or a link to the video footage. And you can contact me or Chester Hill Park, preferably. You can contact them, and I'll have that link sent out to you by email. Dr. Bob, I'm gonna take it upon myself to send it to you directly, even without a request.
Yes, please do. I appreciate it, Brother Tal. I'm trying to be informed. I'm trying. Y'all can see I got a little bit more effort to make.
Right. So I will add that the commissioner, newly appointed commissioner of planning for the city of Mount Vernon, New York, James Rouse, he'll be making announcements with a series of dates and contact points for people who want to get involved. And the city council person, Poteet, is actually soliciting at this point in time. You have to go to the city's website to get that information. I do not have that handy, but he's actually soliciting resumes from interested individuals who would want to serve on a formal advisory body for the development of the comprehensive plan from the community. So he's soliciting resumes at this present point in time. And as I said, you can contact him directly at the city's website, and you can petition him to give you the information that you would need in order to submit your resume. And we do need, I want to stress this, I have to stress this in my neighborhood association. I stress to them all the time, something that has been said, words from the past, that if there is no struggle, there will be no progress. I know everybody's busy. I know everyone is engaged. This is a very extended society of individuals with whom we have to work. And I hear it constantly. I don't have time, but I would like to. We have to get beyond that. We're going to have to struggle personally to get our disciplines together, maybe streamline some things. And I'll just say this little adage. When I came back from the Million Man March, there were several things I'd like to do and did frequently on the weekend. I mean, I had a nice social life in certain instances, I would say. But one of the things is that I had to go back to church. I made a commitment. So the men that I was with, they wanted me to go back to church. And they told me that they wanted me to teach Sunday school. Now I said, oh my God, you don't want a person like you teaching Sunday school. The Sunday school supervisor took me aside and said, look, you were bold enough to start this process, Talbot. I appreciate it, but you got to study, brother. You ain't studying enough your Bible.
Exactly.
I had to give up things on the weekend that I really like to do on Friday and Saturday in order to prepare for those classes. Yes, it's a struggle, but without the struggle, there is no progress. And I would just tell you, after about 4 years, I got an award as Sunday School Teacher of the Year, and I could have got one for some other things. But this is what engagement can do for you. It could be life transformational. And we need to transform ourselves. Not only build new buildings, we have to build a new community. And that's going to take engagement. So put your resumes in. Take a year off, 6 months maybe. Become a participant. Team up with someone that you can share some responsibility for keeping up on what's taking place with the preparation of the plan. Join a neighborhood association. Neighborhood associations plan to make great input with this effort. And you can do it through your neighborhood association. There are 8 of them in the city that we approximate right now that are committed to this process. And we're hoping that there will be others. And if you're interested in doing a neighborhood association, we got a great group of people that have gone through that development process over the years, and I'm sure we can get someone to help. And I'll repeat it again, Chester Hill Park Neighbors Association. Get in contact with us through our Facebook page, and we'll be happy to make a reference for you or to go over what we've been doing. And we are in no way well organized or can be a stellar example of how a neighborhood association should be. We're still getting our act together. We are still building capacity. This is not an easy process.
Tal, let me jump in for a moment and just inform the viewers that I actually found the page that you referred to at the City of Mount Vernon website, where they can sign up for information on the community plan to make sure that we don't have a repeat of last time. I put it out now, I'm going to hit it up. And so I'll quickly point out to everyone, our viewers, that you can also find a number of important background documents, including the previous plan. It is here somewhere. I was just looking at it, and in any event, all of the plans, here we go. Previous comprehensive plans, if you want to get some background to see what worked, what didn't, what was the rationale. I also, because time is short, I especially wanted to give an opportunity to Brother Jeff to chime in. And to begin with, note, and y'all are going to forgive me, that the community conversations that Brother Jeff has spearheaded are a separate initiative, although there is some parallels and some convergence. Because Brother Jeff and I have been comrades for some time, we have not only, we spent a lot of time debating and discussing important issues. And one thing that I agree with Brother Jeff on is that it's very important that autonomous communities develop independent vehicles through which to form their public views and have and debate things. And so starting earlier this year, Brother Jeff, was it, or was it last year?
Actually, Rise Up was last year.
Starting last year, we started to have a monthly forum that featured speakers, but in addition to that, an open forum the following weekend where people could weigh in on whatever issues they have. This is I'm not sure if people could see it. I do have a recent flyer that we put together in May that took up the question of, rampant violence in our community, and the hope for trying to arrive at some independent solutions. So I also want to give Jeff an opportunity to offer his thoughts, any plans that may be in the works for the independent forums, although again, everyone, they work in parallel with one another. And maybe Jeff even might want to use this as an opportunity to stress the importance of not relying on agencies outside of our community to play the lead in, organizing things.
Yeah, actually, thanks, Rob, and thanks for having us on this evening. Damon, AJ, and it's good to see Talbert. But I'm gonna give you the quick and dirty because obviously we don't have a lot of time left. So, one of my most encouraging hopes for the comprehensive plan was that we actually take the opportunity to do community-wide input. The comprehensive plan, in fact, I'd love to see, or at least if there's some way to get a hold of a copy of the 1960s plan, just because I'm a history buff. I know the comprehensive plan that was pursued by Mary Young back in 2009, I think it was actually an opportunity to get community input that I think at the time, even if it was actually implemented, that plan would be fairly obsolete right now. There are elements of a community. Now, I'm not an urban planner or someone who's particularly skilled in these particular bureaucratic functions. I think a comprehensive plan is not, my understanding of it is that it's not a blueprint. It's a guideline really for how to develop and how to look at different sectors and segments of a community or municipality's priorities, from economic to political, social, etc., and how to develop them. But obviously, many of those factors change. Most of the American economic and social structure of the last decade or so, a decade and a half, at least since the housing crash in 2008, has changed. So for sure, whatever elements of input may have been achieved in 2009, they would have had, I think, minimal kind of presence in the world where now we have, a political environment where it turns out Black Lives Matter, right? I remember at least 2 of those input sessions that I sat in on, and there was no discussion of climate, which should, I think, be top of the list right now for how something like rain floods or heat island crises in urban centers affect a place like Mount. So I think those kind of realities should bear first and foremost on a comprehensive plan. And I think you only can get that kind of input from going community wide. Really just 2 points I'm going to make before I stop. And one of those points is that for a real community wide effort is to go back to what Talbert referred to as a town hall concept. Now, we don't have formal town halls in Mount Vernon. We have these 4-minute speaking sessions that they allow you and by privilege at the school district or at the city council meetings. But these are not dialogue platforms. Obviously, they're public voicing kind of platforms. But actual town halls require input and feedback and rebuttal from not just the community, but the officials that govern the community. They should be made to answer to actual questions people have, and not just give scripted responses, but actually, test their on the spot skills for dialogue and sincerity in terms of what they deeply think in terms of what people bring to the table. That's the kind of thing we should have in each sector of our community that we don't have right now, because we don't have something that I've spoken to, and that is something I've called it something like community councils, or something that actually sectors off significant portions of the community into neighborhood associations, so that each community has a place or a circle or a body they can go to actually represent the particular needs, not just in that geographical location, but for the social and cultural elements that exist in that area of the community. One of the things that I think we could actually get done if they were done before the comprehensive plan would be to get almost like a door-to-door grassroots strategy of getting people's opinions represented in these comprehensive plan listening sessions. We had 2 such listening sessions last week, and I'm grateful to FCWC and Jaffe Holmes for having conducted them at the request of the city. But obviously those listening sessions were only going to be as successful as whoever was able to come on a Zoom call, right? Or log in and request a ticket by Eventbrite before, the day of the event. So obviously that's a very limited way of getting, 70 to 80,000 people that live in the community to actually feed back on what their prospective needs are and their current needs. So the city is going to have to do more to really put an infrastructure of real communication into place, so that the comprehensive plan will be worth something. Because we can go about, exercising this fashion of kind of minimalist communication. I don't think it's going to serve anyone well. We can say we did it. We can say we listened to people and have 30 or 40 people show up on the Zoom call, but I don't think it's going to carry much water for the rest of the community when the comprehensive plan shows up with, fractions of the community showing up to actually voice their needs. One other point I wanted to make about this aspect of community input is something that, I've said, for instance, that something like independent media, we've talked about that on this show, but something like our public access infrastructure in the city has not been properly adhered to. It hasn't even been planned out. And I sit on the Cable Advisory Committee, ironically, and I've been waiting literally all year, not all year, since at least April, since our committee was most actively meeting, for our city council to properly impanel the body that should govern our cable advisory and public access independent media system. but it hasn't been a priority to our city council for whatever reason. So that's the kind of thing, it's I'm not making any low blow criticism. Matter of fact, I'm going to speak to that again next week at our city council meeting if I make it, because I've been speaking to this for years. And these are issues that have always been important and have never been very important, but we're doing all kinds of things where, the city council's passing everything from street fairs to, all kind of different policies that don't deal with infrastructure. So this is the thing that the comprehensive plan should reflect a prioritization on. And the people are going to have to pressure our officials to do this. We have good people, I think good-hearted, well-meaning people in governance. But, we know where the good intentions are. And quite frankly, public policy doesn't come from good-hearted people. It comes from pressure from the people with the needs that either get unmet or get heard the most. And of course, when people's needs are unmet, what happens in a place like the United States are, various aspects of social dysfunction. People are, people have a lot to say about crime, but crime doesn't happen in a vacuum. Crime is typically an outgrowth of poverty and powerlessness. So, while a lot of people want to come to the comprehensive plan process to talk about a lot of kind of first world problems like, nicer flowers on the street or paved streets, people with unmet needs are going to be the chief priority. If we don't make them the priority, they're going to make us make them the priority. So that's a particular issue I think we should deal with from grassroots. We should be able to pressure our policymakers to deal with these things, but not ask them to solve our problems for us. We need to solve our problems by talking to each other and then pressure our officials to make it happen. That's why they're there. That's why they get our taxpayer dollars when they're paid. And even if they're not paid, like a school district trustee, they took an oath. Their job is to manage and to properly execute policies that serve us. They're not there to be Jesus or God or, Moses. They're there to do the job we want them to. But exactly. But we have to be particularly studied ourselves. We have to be more astute about what it takes to be informed in this society. America is a very propagandized society. We have a lot of ignorance rolling around our community. And I don't mean by people who are uneducated. I mean by people with D's and MAs behind the name, right? So we need to do that. We have a lot of uneducated, again, well-meaning, but uneducated leadership that's trying to lead us down a primrose path. And it's not going to end well for any of us. So that's my insight right now.
I want to add on to what Brother Jeff said by noting that many of the programs, especially environmentally oriented programs that have been passed at the federal and state level, have had an explicit call for substantive input from underserved communities. I know because it happens to be a field that I newly started working in. And without question, if you look at some of the New York State legislation that has been passed, mandates that are coming out of the DEC, they are calling for our communities to be more involved, and they're putting money behind those efforts. And and this is true at the federal level as well. And I simply make the point because it's an invitation for local leaders to sort of get on board the trend or the wave, if you will, and recognize that we're likely to come up with better plans. We have broader input from the community, who, as Brother Jeff said, has a vast amount of experience and knowledge that they often bring to bear, that can't be possessed by a handful of people alone. And number two, whatever plans might be passed, if you have substantial community input, it might win legitimacy for those plans that otherwise seems to be lacking today. I think most people in the city of Mount Vernon feel that the city is terribly managed and there is not enough input from ordinary residents about the way forward. And I hope our elected officials are listening and, maybe follow up on the recommendation and to do their part. But we need to do ours by, maybe put a more effort behind some of the things that Brother Jeff and Brother Talbot are now doing.
Well, I thank we coming to the coming to the close of the show. I want to give Brothers Halbert and Brother Jeff last words. Anything that they want to bring up and last words for our audience.
Well, I want to thank you, AJ, and Jeff for even making this possible. Because on one of your prior shows, you seem to invite people to come and have conversations. Somewhat unscripted. I think there needs to be more of that. Jeff and I intersected with one another behind that, and there was a spiraling of just creative thought, and now this effort to get this topic and this enterprise out into the public sphere. So thank you for that tremendously, and I appreciate you having us on the show this evening.
We're going to get that was an experiment, but we will be doing that, a more planned version of that sometime after the election. We're going to try to do that once a month, once every other month, promote it where, everybody can come in and, say what they want to say. We get more community engagement. So that is definitely something we're exploring, and we're definitely going to incorporate. Brother Jeff.
Yeah, I want to extend my gratitude again for the opportunity to talk about this. The comprehensive plan was the focal point of this discussion, but I think just like I said, as an ongoing effort, I appreciate that Black Westchester is out here as a platform. We need to, first of all, support, but also continue to demand this kind of engagement. Right? We need to be engaging with each other. It shouldn't just be on Black Westchester, for instance. We need to actually push the concept of community associations, or whatever we end up calling them, so that each neighborhood is properly represented. So for whatever way that materializes, and I appreciate you guys giving us the platform. Thank you again.
No doubt. Dr. Bob, you're muted.
I do want to thank Brother Jeff and Brother Tal for coming on air and sharing their vision for enhanced community participation with us. I urge everyone to try to take the initial steps to become more involved. If we do not make the effort, nothing is going to come of it. So we've got to try. And I can tell you that both of these brothers are dedicated to the cause, and you can be sure that you have great partners who are willing to do the work to make sure that there's someone on the other side to meet you and to make sure that your voice is heard. I do want to take the opportunity while we're on air, AJ, to notify people that the cipher, which is the name of the, AJ and Damon knows, y'all know, Tal knows, is the name of the community forum that we put on, the variety show that we put on a monthly basis. And this month we'll be celebrating, we'll have one of Mount Vernon's first official Puerto Rican Heritage Month celebrations in living memory on November 19th at the library. Is it possible to share my screen, AJ?
Yes, hold on.
We'll be featuring Decipher and Rise Up, the parent organization, has been animated by the spirit of Pan-Africanism that recognizes the common interests that people of color across the globe have in coming up with some sort of unified vision to address the challenges that we confront. And this will be the first, as part of that effort. We, of course, always want to include our Latino brothers and sisters, though they may have a relatively small size in the city of Mount Vernon. We think it's important that we make an affirmative effort to include them. And I'm very happy that we're going to be featuring Professor Vanessa Valdez of City College, who is going to be giving a presentation based on her newest book on the life and work of Brother Arturo Schomburg. I do want to thank Damaris Monet for inspiring this event and and the work that she's done behind the scenes. And we invite everyone to come out in a couple of weeks to join us.
Damon.
Man, I want to thank your brothers for coming on the show. Excuse me, I only have like a 30-hour window, my voice start going. But I want to thank your brothers for coming on the show and keep doing good work in Mount Vernon. It needs good people to do good work. Brother Talbot, it's my first time meeting you, and I love the work that you're doing, and thank you. Brother Jeff, come on, man. We go back like car seats, man. So, we've been fighting the power for a minute. Brother Bob, thank you for always bringing interesting subjects to Black Westchester. I think down the line, man, we want to do a lot of good things, for the people. We have to empower ourselves. Like we really have to focus on empowerment. Dr. Ben was just on talking about the same thing. What we see going on throughout the news, it's about empowerment. We are in an economic warfare. And I think Black communities, we got to be on the front line for our communities to survive. Nobody else is going to do it. No political party is going to do it. We're going to have to do it ourselves. Whether we are part of a political party, that's just icing on the cake. But at the end of the day, especially as Black men, it's great to see Black men, talking about what the city needs, putting together a future for a Black city. So I am excited about that, but we have to start being on the front line more. Our children and our wives and our families need to see healthy, God-fearing Black men standing up for their community. And I think, with what we see, we need to see more of that, and we need to portray more of that, than what they're portraying on social media and on television. So, I want to thank all your brothers for taking the time out today and coming on the show.
No doubt. Thank you all again. Thank you all for coming. Trying to get the comment. There you go. Thank you all for coming on the show. Everybody for tuning in. Yes, Black Westchester is going to be, it's one of the conversations that Bob and I have had, and I've talked to Damon. We're going to be doing more community engagement. We're a community media, so it's very important that we do community engagement. And Damon and I, everybody, we started this, and everybody refers to this as Damon and AJ's paper or whatever. We want the community to think of this as their paper. This is a community paper. So, we serve the community, and we hope to do that. And we need the community's involvement and engagement. You know what I'm saying? And we created this platform for the community to express the things that they need to express. So we will be getting more into community engagement. Before we go, we are doing ads. We'll be doing more advertising on the show, and we're ending the show with our ad. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. This is Black Westchester presents the People Before Politics radio show, episode 357. With that, I'm going to let one of our advertisers take us out. Peace.
It's going down Saturday, November 12th. Doug B Productions and Billy Rajan presents A Night of Elegance with a live performance by Intro. A Night of Elegance starring Intro. Intro live at the Coliseum, Saturday, November 12th, a night of elegance, starring Intro. This is an event you don't want to miss, with music provided by DJ Love, DJ Kid New, and DJ Kool-Aid. Live and direct at the Coliseum, 15 South Broadway in White Plains, New York. For tickets and information, call 914-403-8376 or 914-874-9415. Intro at the Coliseum, Saturday, November 12th. We are the soul of New York, 108 Soul.
And with that, we're out. Check us out tomorrow on the Black Westchester Power Hour on WVOX, 11 a.m. to 12 noon. And then we'll be following that up with a joint collaboration with Race Talk Revolution. Lane Cobb and myself, we will be interviewing the Black Violin at 3 p.m. It will also stream live. It'll be a joint with Black Westchester and Race Talk Revolution. Also, you can catch Race Talk Revolution every other on Wednesdays. That's it. Without further ado, until next time, we're out. Peace.